Mazel tov, mazel tov.
All the tefillah should be miskabel.
Amen. I heard a beautiful story last night about Zos Chanukah. I think that it really explains everything about what this whole day is all about. The Rizhiner Rebbe, Rabbi Yisrael of Rizhin, has 6 boys. It's known. The great dynasty that we have today, Tzadiger, Boyan, they come from the Rizhiner Rebbe. The Rizhiner, remember, Rabbi Yisrael Friedman, he was the great-grandson of the Maggid of Mizrich. His Malchus, kingdom. He's the one that used to wear, he had a carriage, a real carriage, and he had gold shoes, but there was no soul underneath the shoes. A lot of stories about the Rizhiner. It's not for now, but the Rizhiner Rebbe, his 6th son, his 5th or 6th, I forget which one, was Reb David Moshe Chortkov, the Chortkov Rebbe. And the name Chortkov, his son, I think Rabbi Yisrael, was the Rebbe of Reb Meir Shapiro of Lublin, the Miyasad of the Daf Yomi. Anyway, the Chortkov, there's a lot of stories about the Chortkov. And he would see people for hours and hours and hours. Always. All day long. One of his Chassidim, I forget his name, one of his Chassidim really wanted to see what the Rebbe is like after hours, when he's not Rebbeing. Right? Like, I don't know, I didn't tell you, but on the plane, on the way to Yechasna, I sat next to a Rebbe. I didn't realize he was a Rebbe. I don't know if I told you, it was after hours, right? The Rebbe, no one's around. And I didn't know it was a Rebbe. I see this Hasidic Yid next to me. And I told you the story? I just have to tell you. And I'll show you pictures. And I guess now I'm saying, what does the Rebbe really do after hours? He's really a Rebbe. He was this Rebbe. He was looking at names, davening. No one was around. Just davening, learning, singing for hours, the whole 10, 12 hours. He was. I asked him, I didn't know who he was. In the beginning, I asked him, who are you? Where are you from? Which Hasidus say? He told me, Lelev. I started telling him all these Torahs about Lelev Rebbe and stories.
That's my grandfather.
Yeah. No, he didn't say anything. He didn't say, he just looked at me like, oh? Or he was thinking, what a Meshugana you're. Or he was like, what is this? Like, you don't look like you know any stories about Lelev Rebbe. Like, what's going on over here? And at the end, so I asked him, Efrat, he's like, Anachnu Lelev. Then, towards the end of the flight, Shimon Treifus
300 people.
Shimon Treifus was sitting a few rows back. He says to me, Shlomo, that's Reb Nachman Biederman. That's the Lelev Rebbe. The last hour, my face was. But anyway, I saw Rebbe after hours, and after hours meaning like no one's around. He was a real Rebbe. So this chassid wanted to know what the Church Rebbe was like after hours. What was it like when no one was around? So he went into his room, and he's peeking from his room, and he sees that the Rebbe has paper, and he's looking at kvitlach, people's names, and they're basically when you write a kvitl to a Rebbe, even through your name, you're putting your whole life and soul into it. I send the Rebbe every year. Erev Rosh Hashanah, Avi Feinberg gives him my kvitl, keeps it under his standard, Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur for years and years. And this chassid sees that the Rebbe has one kvittel that he can't really see, and he's looking at it from every different angle and different direction. And then finally he puts it by the light, and he finally is able to see exactly what's written on the kvittel. And then the Rebbe's face got so happy when he was able to see what's on this person's kvittel? Like, what is he really crying for? What does this Yidden need? What is this Yidden about? So I heard this from Rebbe Moshe Tzvi Weinberg that's really Zos Chanukah. That's like, it's a Gevalt story for any day of the year, but it's really, that's what Chanukah is about. That's why we say that Chanukah is the Gemar Chasima Tova, because it's almost like our kvittel of Rosh Hashanah and Kippur, what we wanted, what we davened for so much. By the neros, the light of the candles, give our own tefillas there's that much clarity before Kisei HaKavod, and also before our own lives, to say to us, what is it that we really wanted? What did we want Rosh Hashanah and Kippur? What did we really want? And that's really what's happening today, this Gemar Chatimat Tova, this sealing, the ending, is that we get so happy when we realize what we want is Kodesh. That what we really wanted is Kedusha. During the year, we can't really see what we really want, and it confuses us because we start identifying ourselves with someone not holy, someone that is not attracted to anything holy. But really, on Zos Chanukah, because of the full illumination of a full menorah, we see, oh, this is what I really want. And then I say, this is who I am. And I say, Zos Chanukah, this is Chanukah, and this is me. I'm pointing at it and saying, this is me, and this is what I want to take with me throughout the whole year. So, Be'ez Hashem, the Zgula, the Koach of this day, which is brought down in the Sfarim, this day is a Poel Yeshuas. I think it's brought down in the Shulchan Aruch, even you're supposed to take all the petilas and the shmanim, you're supposed to take all the wicks that were burnt and all the leftover oil together, all together, and light it up like one big medura, whatever's left to light up, even the minosa kankanim, what was left over that didn't make it into be fully burnt, you fully burn it today. Now, in Ruchnius, that obviously, what does that mean? That anything that you wanted to do over Chanukah, like I remember, this always happens to me. First day Chanukah, I pull out half my library, put it by the Sfarim, by the Neros, and this year I'm going to do it. And Baruch Hashem, we've had more children over the years, and I've had less learning over the years by the Neros, because it's not exactly the time where you just sit there.
Less learning from the Sfarim. Yeah. Less learning from the Sfarim. Right.
Shkoyach. Exactly. Very good diuk there. From the Sfarim. Very good. Much more learning, but not from the Sfarim. That's a deep one, though. That's the deepest thing I've ever heard you say. Yeah. That's much the deepest thing I've ever heard you say. Really, that's true. It's endless.
I won't hold back anymore.
Stop.
A little alcohol, but it does.
Little l'chaim, and you're there.
Opens up.
Shimmy.
There's not one to hold back.
The bottle's all you need.
L'chaim. Be a big Kol Yeshuas for us in our lives.
Amen.
Zos Chanukah. All right. I want to do one thing today. I saw something by Rabbi Usher Weiss that blew my mind, blew my kish. Because you know Rabbi Usher Weiss? Have you heard of him? No, Rabbi Usher Weiss is in Yerushalayim. Is anyone there? He was here. He was here last week, I think. You ever heard of him in Chicago?
Here at Shirat, Rabbi?
No, he was in Efrat. Someone brought up to Efrat a few weeks ago. Just a small, beautiful piece here. Trying to get as much clarity as I can on it without getting too deep. I know it's already late, but this is a very important inyan. What's interesting is that imagine a good friend that you had that one of the biggest mitzvahs is called Machzir Grushato. Machzir Grushato, when you take back your grusha and you marry her again, if you're still permitted to, and you take her back and you marry her again. It's a tremendous mitzvah. It's a mitzvah that I, as a kohen, Be'ezer Hashem, I should never know these things, but as a kohen cannot do such a thing, right? But imagine like someone got married, then they got divorced, then they get married again, then they get divorced again. It's happened. I know people like that, actually. But imagine that the children from this marriage celebrated their parents' second marriage. Even though for years afterwards, the parents were divorced. But whenever the anniversary of the second marriage, which ended up in a churban, imagine that they celebrated the marriage, the second marriage. What would you think about that? If eventually the parents did get divorced, why in the world would the kids celebrate the second marriage?
Something good probably came out of maybe a child was born, or
So celebrate the child's birth. But what are you celebrating the anniversary? Anniversary I'm speaking about.
What, you say the dafka, who would do such a thing?
Oh, I don't know, but we do it. What's Hanukkah?
What did you say last night?
What's Hanukkah?
Is it the reunification?
Of what?
Of a temple
That eventually, 200 years later, I was thinking about it all week, eventually it gets destroyed. So we're sitting here celebrating something that didn't last. We're celebrating a marriage that Kivyachol didn't last.
But
So to speak.
the light that's shown is everlasting, and whatever impact it had is everlasting.
We also
So
didn't
that's
destroy
it.
the Beit HaMikdash ourselves.
So I don't.
Well, I guess in a way
we say we do. I mean, even though we didn't physically
Yeah.
break it down, but in a sense we do. But there's something very amazing about our capability to take, like you said, to look at something that didn't last, but something tremendous happened from it. I saw the Chassam Sofer. He says, Kol Ikar Nes Shel Chashmonaim, the whole Inyan of Chanukah, that the Chashmonaim Beit Sheni Haya Hachana Legalut Hamar Hazeh. We're celebrating the fact that the Chashmonaim prepared us how to make it in Galus. We're celebrating the preparation that the Chashmonaim did for us. Isn't that amazing?
Why? Because how do they prepare us? What does that mean?
כי אילו היו ישראל יורדים לגלות הזה, כמו שירדו בחורבן בית ראשון, if Am Yisrael would have gone down into Galus the same way the stature that we were in during חורבן בית ראשון, שהיו פרוצים בתורה וחיצים מדבר השטותי, that we weren't connected to anything, לא היו יכולים להתקלם בגלות המר והארוך מבלתי להפר מצוות התורה. There's no way you could have held on to the Torah.
Right, think about what the Chashmonaim still mean to us today.
Exactly. Meaning Hanukkah celebrates the fact that even though the Beit HaMikdash is destroyed, because of what they did, I'm still a Yid, even though the Beit HaMikdash has been destroyed for 2,000 years.
I thought about them all week.
About the
Chashmonaim and our American friends.
Oh yeah, it was a very easy year to connect to Hanukkah.
Yeah.
Very easy year to connect to Hanukkah.
Every time I
To
say,
say like
Al Nisan,
to laugh at what's happening. To say like they think they know what they're doing. Like
Al yedei zeh nasnu koach b'Yisrael la'amod b'datam b'meshech galus hazeh. They gave us koach to still stand up today. The Chashmonaim. I told you, Rav Ginsburg says Chashmonai letters Mashiach now. I was at a Yitzhak Kislev for bringing with him many years ago. Before I had anything personally to do with him, it must be 10, 12 years ago in Yerushalayim, and he ended off like talking for 2 hours, and I don't know if some people were drifting, because he gets very, very deep and everything. So before the next nigun, he says, וכידוע לכולם שבגימטריה שאותיות חשמונאי, and he gave a smile, זה משיח now.
That woke everyone up.
Everyone was, and then the singing. So anyway, I want to look at one nakuda there. One nakuda. This is the middle of a long sikha by the Minchas Asher. For those of you, this is kedai. This sefer is. You have this, Shimi?
Mm-hmm.
It's unbelievable sefer. Minchas Asher. I should pick up some. It's unbelievable. Oh, by the way, I have Tuesday is a post Chanukah gift day. I picked up the Bnei Machshavat Torah. I have it at home. Yeah, we're continuing Tuesday. Bnei Machshavat Torah. I have this sefer. So he says an incredible thing. It's a whole mahalach about Moshe talked about it on Shabbos a little bit. Simcha and Chanukah. Where do we see it? We don't see it in the halacha. There's no inyan. We don't even say it in the Al Nisan. But the Rambam does say, Perek Dalet, I think, in Hilchos Chanukah, Dafka, that it is Yemei Simcha v'Halel. But the way that we refer to it, and the way that Rabbi Nachman speaks about it also in the Likutei Moharan, Yemei Halal v'Hodah. The Rav Kook Women's Shirat, we spoke about that mainly, what the Halal v'Hodah. But there is an inyan of Simcha, but the Rambam brings down. Now, who comes first, the Rambam or the Shulchan Aruch? So the Rambam is coming how many years before the Shulchan Aruch? Approximately 350, mashkas, maybe even more, no? Not sure, it's not so important right now, but the Rambam is bringing down, he's saying, no, there is an inyan of Simcha, Dafka on Chanukah. And to end off this sweetness of this holiday, I wanted to choose one piece that the Reb Usher Weiss explains about what was going on back then, so that we could take this into our lives and go into the rest of the year with a certain amount of pride, beautiful pride. Ve'ala bilibi lomar. It's the middle of a long mimer, and alavai. We should have a proper base medrash that we could learn for hours and hours and hours. So we could do all these bishlemus. Ve'ala bilibi lomar. In my heart it came to say, Dehalo. Eit tzara haita az li'Yaakov. In the time of what was taking place during the story of Chanukah, it was an Eit tzara li'Yaakov. What was the tzara? What was the real trouble? Everyone thinks that we had guns to our heads. Guys, we should remember, there were no guns to our heads during the story of Hanukkah. There were guns to our neshamas. Eis tzara haisal az li'Yaakov. Gzeras hayavonim mibachutz. V'tumas hamisyavim mibifnim. From the outside, there was the gzeras. What were the decrees that the Yevanim said?
Shabbos, Milo,
Bring.
Chodesh.
Right, the key things which spiritually align us with our tradition. There was another gzera, which we'll get to in a second, but then he says that's on the outside. But in the inside, what was really hurting Am Yisrael? Tum'as hamisyavnim. The impurity of the Hellenists, the Jews that had a much bigger party last night at midnight, Nebuch Hashem Yirachim Anas, than they did for the last 7 days of Hanukkah.
Hellenist.
Mamish Hellenism. How many Yidden last night had much more of a simcha than they had the last 8 days of Hanukkah? Because last night was New Year's. It's a sad thing.
I had to say something beautiful though, that we had our little chagigah here with the kids last
Oh,
night. I didn't hear one person even say a word about New Year's.
I didn't.
It was a beautiful thing.
I didn't realize it till I saw. You're right. I didn't realize till I saw a status that said, "Kol Yehudi bechatzot balayla beleil New Year's olech lemezuzah shelo v'noshek ota v'omer Baruch shelo asani goy."
That one person said.
You're right. You're right.
I've loved it here.
You're right.
I've been struck by the fact that people just don't.
It's just not part of the yeah.
I love it.
Tumas hamisyavnim mibifnim. Now, honestly, what are we? Are there still gzeras yevanim today in the world? Absolutely. Like the Baal Keren Yimach Shemo, the way he spoke last week.
We can't be living.
Obviously,
Jewish and we can't
I mean,
be Democrat.
it's unbelievable. No, it's unbelievable. But that does that really affect us? That has no effect on us at all. But the Tumas hamisyavnim, that in bifnim, the tumah of this Hellenistic way of thinking, that's the danger. So that's what we say. That's what was going on. We had both full on back then. כנגד האויב היחזר שעמדני בחוץ וגזר גזרות נוראות להשכיחם תורתך ולהעבירם מחוקי רצונך. We had this oyev achzar, this cruel enemy on the outside, the Yevanim, that did all these things that told us, keep on learning, but don't put your neshama in it. Which would eventually, they knew that would cause us to forget what Hashem is really telling us through the Torah, and not just Xeros. V'chol besula anises tival lehagmon tchinana. This is a very sad one. You know about this? Every woman that was about to get married, right, the virgins, we would have to first become be'ula. They should have to sleep with hagmon,
That was
meaning
the last straw, right?
that was it.
They took the Kohen Gadol's.
Yeah, I can't even speak about this stuff. This stuff freaks me out. Mamish freaks me out that all Yiddish kalas would have to become Niv Elis. It's a crazy thing. Well, anyway, this was what was happening. Amdu hamisyavnim gamhem. That was on the outside, but the misyavnim, Yidden, Hellenists, also got up. Ve'ir eru et chomot hadat mibifnim. But on the inside, they started to question and shake up the pillars of Yiddishkeit that were always unquestionable. Okay? Bekablam et tarbuta yevanim v'darkehem, as they accepted upon themselves the tarbus, the culture of the Yevanim and their ways. Ubeomram le'am Hashem, and while they would turn to Am Hashem, shekach na'eh v'kach ya'eh lidbok ba'yevanim ubenumusehem. You should be good. Don't not listen to the Yevanim. That's what they would say. Don't not listen to them. It's a good thing. It's a proper thing to have mannerisms. I don't know if I told you. I think I told you this. One Shabbos, I spent Shabbos a few years ago, right after Bibi spoke in the Congress. Now, I'm not a Bibi chassid, but just to put things in context. I was in a very, without mentioning names, probably the most prominent shul in Manhattan. And I couldn't believe it that the Rav got up and gave a speech. It was right around the time of Purim, if you remember. Then he gave that speech. And the Rav gets up and gives us, I mamish almost walked out. I have a mamish, one of my best friends in that shul, and he was involved in bringing me there, and I didn't. but I almost walked out of there. The Rav gets up and he starts to say that, just can you imagine if Esther and Mordechai would be Mizgara and the Melech HaChashverosh, if they would start to taunt the Melech HaChashverosh himself, we wouldn't have ended up having a story like Purim. So we learn from that leaders of the Jewish people shouldn't dare taunt foreign leaders.
Kolos thinking.
It's a Rav of a from shul.
Kolos thinking.
It's unbelievable.
Court Jews.
So he's saying over here, this is, again, they're saying, have mannerisms. You see, you know who else had very good mannerisms? You know when a German would kill a Yidela right before he killed him? How much mannerisms he had in his speech? So we have to understand, this was what was going on inside, and the Maccabee, the Kohanim, a Kohen can't, maybe that's why I'm like this, I just can't stand this stuff. Kohanim, all of us are Kohanim on a certain level. You can't bear to see a Yidela that's telling you, have nice manners towards those who are basically chopping off your neshama.
Where does that get us?
Vehine kamu Matisyahu, you see in the middle of this seventh line. Vehine kamu Matisyahu Kohen Agadol, v'chamesh banav hakadoshim. Matisyahu and his 5 sons get up. V'yichrizu mi la Hashem elai. Who to Hashem is come to me? V'yatz'u lehilachem milchemes chorma b'malchus yavan adira. And an army of 70 soldiers go out and fight a war against such a tremendous legion, right? Now, listen to this. This is the Nakud I want to get to. Rabim nehergu b'milchama. Many were killed in this war. U'benehem shnei b'nei Matisyahu. And amongst them, 2 of Matisyahu's 5 children were killed in the war. But after this hard war, Zachul yichbosh et armon hamelech beit mikdashenu v'tifartenu. What would we do? We recaptured, rededicated, repurified our palace. Okay. In the past, when we look at other wars, when does someone initiate a war? Usually, what could be a chokhmah, a logic behind a nice reason, like a smart reason, or a justified reason to start a war? When you're about to be killed, someone that comes to shech you shech them first. Was that the story here? No. It's a very interesting thing.
They were letting them live.
They let them live.
3 things.
They let them live.
Yeah. And
Again,
let us have your daughters.
guns were not to the heads. Guns were to the souls. Who gets killed? Over what? Over a father waging a war against a spiritual threat, 2 of his own children. Go into the mindset right for a second of Matisyahu Kohen Gadol. What do you think he's thinking?
Yeah, but the Kohanim were physically disposed from the Mikdash.
There's one thing about being disposed, and there's one thing about being shechted. And even if it was just, you know what? And even if the Kohanim alone were being shechted, does that justify going out on a physical war that would endanger all of Am Yisrael?
They're being persecuted, but they weren't being killed.
Granted, they were being disposed, absolutely. But what I wanted to do today is if we go into the mindset of Matisyahu Kohen Gadol, we could bring out of Hanukkah something amazing.
The pilgrims did the same thing.
What did they do?
They said that they needed religious freedom. They took the Chashmonaim as an example.
Right, amazing, huh? We don't think about these things, but it's
got to their head. They said enough.
Right, they said enough. But I'm saying that even if you felt good about the beginning of saying there's a spiritual war going here and we're going to go out and end this, but in the course of that, 2 of your own children get killed, what starts happening to you afterwards? What do you start thinking about afterwards? Was it
second guessing?
Done it, right.
I hear all these very harsh comments sometimes of people that say they come on Aliyah and they come to Eretz Yisrael. Things don't always work out, and let's say like, oh, it messed up one of my children. Right? So then they start to doubt the kedusha that they had in coming to Eretz Yisrael, as if every child that stays in America and grows up in Chutzlart, they're fine. That you can never mess up a kid by staying in America. If you bring them to Eretz Yisrael, maybe they can have a chashash that they can be messed up. What's going on over here? We have to go into the psyche, into the mind of Matisyahu Kohen Gadol. Now look back inside. This is l'chaim tov l'shalom ha'avesha. This is an amazing thing. Now look where it has that siman.
Okay.
Look where it has this siman. I want you to look inside because I want us to see the words inside. Bekotsham et Beit HaMikdash. Look what they say. Bekotsham et Beit HaMikdash. As they sanctified the Beit HaMikdash. Ubechanukato mechadash. And as they rededicated the Beit HaMikdash, you think they were standing there smiling, ha, we won? Fakert. The Chashmonaim were standing there crying their eyes out. After they won the war, when they won the physical war, they're standing there crying. Hitpalelu HaChashmonim LaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Chashmonaim daven to Hashem, Sheyar'eh lahem, show us, Ulechol ha'am, show the whole nation, Os min hashamayim, give us a sign. Rebbe is saying, the Maccabim were standing there saying, Hashem, give us a sign that what? Shamilchama lo lashav hayta, that the war wasn't for nothing.
If you think about it, how long did it last?
200 years. That's what I started with. That's what I started saying. The Chashmonaim are not celebrating.
They weren't confident.
Well,
Sounds like they've been worn down.
they were worn down, and in their this never happened before.
Imagine what the
It's never
Hellenists were
happened
saying
before.
to them.
Look, your own children are killed.
Calling them messianic,
Mamish.
the same things that are
Yeah.
happening today.
Not
Yeah.
confident, but there was a Yetzer Hara. There was a.
It's I don't know. I don't know if it's a Yetzer Hara. I think that Amen. I think it's more than. I think it's a little bit different. I think it's a little bit different. I think that it's.
There were probably forces in the Jewish people that were telling them.
Oh yeah, no, for sure there was that. But let's say that there was no one. Let's say that they didn't hear anyone saying anything to them. They're just standing there by the Chanukah Sabayis, and they're heartbroken. Yeah, Gewalt, they won a war. They did. They won a miraculous war. But what was going on inside? Saying, Ribono Shel Olam, please give me a simon that this wasn't for nothing. I heard Reb Shlomo once saying, "Umilfanecha malkeinu rekam al tshivenu." We're davening to Hashem, please hear our voices, see our tshuva. Umilfanecha malkeinu rekam al tshivenu. Don't bring me back empty. It's like, show me that my tshuva was for something. Show me that what I did was for something, that it was. So he's saying that's what Matisyahu was standing there right after they're about to rededicate, repurify, bring in the band, bring in the boy, whatever it was, and they're saying, "But Ribono Shel Olam, okay, we did this spiritual, we waged a war on spiritual matters. Please show me that it wasn't for nothing." Shamilchama lo haysa lashav. Yes, Shemi.
I'm saying, if they're already at the Madrega, that they were looking at the Gzeiros and Lashkichum Tarasecha as like a redifa on their ruchnias, to the point that it was a redifa on their whole life, because what kind of life is it without a lichtigkeit in Torah? To the point that they said, we're going to wage a war because we don't want a Judaism. That's not life. That's killing us, taking away that excitement in Yiddishkeit.
Right.
So after that, if they're already at that Madrega that they felt that, it's unclear to me why they need a sign after that. It's just supposed to say, everything Hashem does is l'tov. Our avoda was to wage this war, and that's not clear to me why they felt they needed.
I think it's the most simple answer, because when your own son is killed, all that clarity goes away.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he says over here, 2 of their children were killed over a war that was waged based on spiritual claims. So as much as there was behirus adas, that there was clarity of das and bitachon to go out, when it hits home like that, it's almost like the holiest thing in the world you could say to Hashem is what they said. It doesn't, Chalil Amor, it doesn't allude to, like you said, Yetzer Hara. It's not a bad thing at all.
They're not questioning.
No, lahefech. They're saying, Ribono Shel Olam, we did this, what a hakrava we did over here. But show the Am Kula, because people are looking at us maybe and saying, they sacrificed 2 of his children were killed in such a war, and such a great miracle happened. But Hashem, for those that are choshev, please show us all. Us, inside of us, we're broken over what happened to our personal families, but show the Am that this war was for nothing. Now, these words touched home very much, because each of us, I'm sure you could attest to this, and you could find yourself in a certain place in your life that you also gave up so much for Hashem. Let's be honest. I'm not just talking about giving up a TV show. I'm talking about the real things. Right? We give so much for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And each in our lives, Efrat uvichlal. When I say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, show me a siman that that mamish, this was for nothing, is there something really bad in saying such a thing? We're human beings.
That it was not for nothing.
That it was not for nothing. The point is that by them saying, show me a siman, what came out of that? Only then was the miracle of the shmanim, of the oil. That's what he's going to get to.
Because they asked for it.
Only because they asked for it.
You have to ask.
They didn't. You have to ask.
For an ace?
Whatever. Look, Rabbi Goldstein
They
last
didn't ask
night
for
got
it.
up and
They
said
asked for
Chanukah is the only time that he said a Geval thing. He said if you miss Al Anisim in benching, right, on Chanukah, what's the halacha? You're supposed to go back or not? No. But what do you say? In the Harachaman, you say Harachaman hu yaseh lanu nisim.
So I once bumped into Lubavitcher at the mikveh. He says, "How you doing?" I said, "Baruch Hashem, everything's okay. No worry. Everything's great. No complaints." He goes, "You have to complain to Hashem. You have to ask it."
I like it.
Baruch
We
Hashem,
think there's
no
an
complaints,
Indian.
everything's fine.
Yeah, we
Like,
think there's an Indian that Hashem wants us to hear. Everything's
we make
fine.
ourselves like we're like, yeah, everything. We all have our things.
The Chashmonaim, exactly. If the Chashmonaim
Hashem.
would have said everything's fine, guess what? We would not have Hanukkah, because we wouldn't commemorate a whole Chag based on a war that was won. Like you see, like the Gemara in Tainis lists all those different things that happened that didn't last as holidays. But it's because the Chashmonaim stood there and said, give us a siman that our Mesiras Nefesh wasn't for nothing. What do you get? The nace of the Shemen. That's what you get. Like he says over here. Ve'achen darkam hayta derech etz hachaim haderech hanechona. Their way was the right way. Show us, Hashem, that this way was the right way. Yichlu Matisyahu banav shakadosh baruch hu yaseh lehem nes galui. They begged Hashem, make a revealed miracle, listom pi nevi'ei hasheker, to shut the mouths of the false prophets, sheichnifu liyavanu meshaseh, that were sucking up to the Greeks and all their servants, v'sheyeot ve'edut she'ashchina tachzor v'tishre b'tzion, and there should be a sign and a testimony that the Shechina should come back and dwell in Zion. And this is exactly what happened. The result of the Chashmonaim, after winning the war, is crying by the Chanukah Sabayis, saying, okay, Hashem, please show us now, revealed miracle. This was for nothing? That's what brought the nights of Hanukkah. So let me ask you, what was the most revealed miracle that we've had here in our generation? Last generation?
6-day war.
Is that a revealed miracle? No. See, we like to say it is. We love to say it
Because
is.
they didn't have the lights lasting for 8 days afterwards.
Whatever it is, whatever the equivalent of that is, right?
It's the warfare.
Right. Meaning, he's saying, shut the mouths of those biblical critics, right? Shut the mouths of those professors of theology, shut the mouths of those that can clearly just explain how we're sitting amongst someone that partook in. For us, it is miracles, right? Shut the mouths of those that can explain, because they can't explain Neis Chanukah. They can explain all these other things. They can't explain.
Give us
Neis
things
Chanukah.
to shut their mouths.
Yeah. So I think that we've become too accustomed, like Jerry said, to say everything's Baruch Hashem. I have to see that everything's revealed, everything's miracles. Okay, it's nice. It'll get you through the day. But there's a place to say that, okay, ein somchin ala nes. It's true. I don't rely on miracles. I don't base my avodat Hashem on miracles. And I'm not going to say, only if you do this will I really be close to you. But we look at Hashem and say, Beinenu, we know it's all miracles. That's Beinenu. And this war that we won right now, the spiritual, Beinenu. But please show us that this Beinenu, Mesiras Nefesh, that I woke up every single morning with, please show us that it wasn't for nothing. When the Chashmonaim did that, that's what brought about what we're actually commemorating and celebrating. Imagine if there was no inyan of Adlakat Nerot on Chanukah. Then what would it be like? What would the holiday be like?
But it also started with a Mesiras Nefesh. Meaning,
Absolutely.
they did something.
Absolutely.
They didn't just complain. Like
No.
other complainers, like
Their Mesiras Nefesh brought them.
Yeah.
You get the Bible critics saying what they do. It only lasted for 200 years. Their kids were killed. All the Jews that died as a result of their battles.
But the Hanukkah candles lasted forever.
So it shuts their mouths.
Right. You see, the menorah shuts the mouth of anyone that comes and says, it's probably not, really good. That's really the Indian. But I want to go back to what you brought up, Shimi. I understand, and what you brought up, Rebbe, too. You see, it's not moreh al choser bitachon to say to Hashem, please show me that this was for nothing. It's actually what Hashem wants you to ask for. It doesn't allude to, you don't really trust Hashem that it's good. It's that, I'm a human being, I had developed a relationship with my child, I'm very close to my children, it's what love, chinuch, everything. These two sons were shechted al kiddush Hashem. And as much as, absolutely, like so many of my friends say, I came to Eretz Yisrael, I left everything behind for you. Wasn't for materialism. I came here for you, Hashem. Please show me that me coming here was really not for nothing. You could say that.
הקדוש ברוך הוא גם מסכים לזה. יש פסוק שאנחנו אומרים למלאכים, יבחנוני נא בזאת. תבחנו אותי. שם זה לגבי המעשרות מובן. אבל אני אומר, אפשר להשאיר את זה גם על רעיון של חנוכה. תבחנו אותי. בזאת חנוכה, אתם תראו
בזאת.
תקבלו אישור למה שאתם.
It's gewalt. Did you understand what that's, אני גם שמעתי אתמול, אמרתי את אתמול בלילה בהופעה, it's gewalt, קראנו אתמול בפרשה, בזאת תיבחנו.
בזאת תיבחנו, כן, נכון.
It's gewalt, right? Yosef HaTzadik, right? בזאת תיבחנו. In זאת is the real test. What's the test? Do you find it holy to tell Hashem, please show me that it wasn't for nothing? Or do you want to be convinced that you're a tzaddik that doesn't go to that place because you're sure that everything's fine and you don't want to show any human emotions?
Here they're asking for him to show everybody else. They know it's not for nothing.
Well, you know what?
Right?
I don't know if it's for everybody else.
That seems to be what the request is.
He says here, again, Shi'ara'eh lahem ve'u lechol ha'am. Show us and everyone else.
Right.
Meaning that he could have been okay looking to his Zayda, Aaron HaKohen, and just said, Vayidam Aaron, but he's saying that the rest of Am Yisrael is not on that madrega, and they need a sign because there was a Chorban in Am Yisrael.
Or maybe, let's go even like a much humane level. Maybe Matisyahu level is saying, Hashem Yisbarach, I have 3 other children that stayed alive that may never talk to me for the rest of their lives for beginning a war which resulted in the death of their 2 brothers. That could be, no?
Yeah, for sure.
Does that show choser bitachon? Not at all. That shows a yid Mesiras Nefesh to the utmost, begging HaKadosh Baruch Hu. More and more and more on that level. I mean, that's the most personal level that we can get to. And that's what I wanted to. That's what I wanted to end off Hanukkah. Because Hanukkah is saying to go into the world, into the heart of the Kohanim, of the Makkabim, of the Chashmonaim, of Matisyahu, Kohen Gadol, and to really what that Lubavitcher told you is such, it's mamash emes lamita. We have this concept of God's like, I don't want to ask him too much, because then I'll owe him. Or I don't want to ask, right? So, no, we have that Inyan very much. But the way it works differently is that the more you ask from Hashem, the more you're fulfilling the purpose of why Hashem created people. The more you ask from Hashem, the more that it doesn't chas v'chalila show less. It shows that you actually believe more, that he can do anything. That's what the menorah is, that you can do anything. Yes, you can do anything. So we should have enough koach to take from bezot tebachenu, bechanunim ha'pasuk ha'shah, u'bechanunim gam bezot. This tachanunim, this crying out. I heard Rav Moshe Wolfson, the Mashgiach of Torah Vadas, says a good thing. The parshiyot of tshuva, nitzavim vayelech ha'azinu, the number of psukim there is very consistent. There's 30 psukim, nitzavim, 40 vayelech, 52 ha'azinu. Those are the 3 to the 4 last parashiyot of the Torah. They have a lot of tshuva. It's all about tshuva. So he said a gewalt thing there, Rav Moshe Wolfson. He says, 30, the parsha of Nitzavim 30, what does that allude to? Obviously, that talks about Elul. Then you add another 30, then you have the 40 days. What does that allude with the 40 days from till Yom Kippur? Then the 52 days goes to where? To Shmini Atzeres. But those are the three parshiyas of Tshuva alluding to the Zmanim that we have there. But when you take 30 and you add 40 and you add 52, how many is that? 70 plus 52? 122. Today's the 122nd day of the year. All those parshiyas, all those things. Mamash, that's what it is. Marach Hasim Tov. We should be zechen to be emes dika kohanim in the Beis Hamikdash. We should have Mesiras Nefesh. We should have enough guts to tell Hashem, please show me that this was for nothing. That this wasn't for nothing. That it was for something. And the next Chanukah Sabai should involve no tears. There should be no need of asking Hashem to prove to others that it was worth it, because it'll be galui umala haaretz galui lachamim. It'll be galui v'yadua. It will be mala haaretz de'as Hashem. That the whole world will be filled with the knowledge of Hashem, and there will be no shilas anymore, no questions about a yid's mesiras nefesh. Be the most clearest, most sensible thing in the world. Ben Niska and the binyan Beis Hamikdash. Amen. Amen. Amen.